Good morning. Let's talk a bit about the summary of the three articles of our reading comprehension. The main idea that is discussed on the three articles is a debate over directionality and interpreting from an A to B language or a B to an A language, and how it's important to analyze the benefits or the difficulties of both. Now let's make a little breakdown of the three articles so we can get some of the main ideas. One of the articles discuss the human perspective of interpretation, this through a survey or questionnaire that was made to professionals and students to understand how they perceive their performance when interpreting. The results of this activity was that professionals prefer to interpret into their A language, their native language, and students prefer to interpret from A to B because they understood more the source material when it was in their native language. Now, the second document talks more about the neurological and cognitive side of interpretation and how the bilingual brain, needs some mechanisms to actually use both languages when interpreting. Uh, this one of the supporting ideas of this article was that the brain uses more energy trying to suppress their dominant language while actively trying to identify the main idea of the messages, um, lexicon, and highlighting the ideas of the interpretation. The third article explains more on of the empirical side of interpretation and how the EPIC project is important because it compiles in a database real world interpreter situations. This so they can create strategies, real linguistic choices for the interpreters to use. Now, some of the main ideas of the three articles are: the first one is how comprehension needs to be first. Desinenko explained that or suggests that if you don't understand the source material perfectly, you cannot produce a good interpretation. This is important because it justifies how interpreting into the Bill language uh, can be a flawless interpretation because you will understand the source material when it is in your A language, in your mother language. The second idea is it talks about the cognitive load of interpreting and how the bilingual brain doesn't just switch between languages, but it has to actually push down the language that is not being spoken, so the message can reach the audience. This explains it's important because it explains how the brain how this activity is exhausting for the brain, and professionals need to practice and train themselves so they can manage this load. The third idea is the importance again of a corpus based research, the work that EPIC is doing, and how this corpus allows to have real examples that researchers use to so interpreters can do what they need to do during their work. In conclusion, this article shows the importance and the differences between interpreting from A to B and from B to A. It is important also for the actual training that students are having can be in the two ways, from A to B and B to A, because now it's a necessity in the market that interpreters have. Interpreting now is not just about having a perfect pronunciation in your B language, but also to understand what the B source material is saying, so we can transmit the message even if it regardless or of the direction.